Hey, this is Ben with support at Harvest Profit. I want to go over entity shares with you today. I want to show you how to create an entity share, how to add entities to your account, and kind of the background mechanics of how an entity split works. So we're going to hop into the Crop Planner page, and this is where we're going to create entities under the Entity Share tab. But first off, if you don't have extra entities added in your account, I'll show you right now. I can click this drop down and I can see what's in my account. If you need to add a new entity, we're going to go to settings and entity settings, and we're going to type in the new name here. So I'm just going to go, we'll just add something in here for an example as dad. I'm going to come back to the Crop Planner, and you can see it didn't show up on our list right away. So all I want to do is just refresh my internet page here. That's going to reload this page, and that way this new entity shows up from dad. And to create an entity share, we're going to go to the Entity Shares tab on Crop Planner. And you can see I already have one share made, but I want to add a new entity share. So this is where we name the share. Let's say this new farm partnership. And we're going to say this is between dad and brother. And we're just going to do 50-50. If you want to add another entity, you can click add entity, and I can add another person in here. You can see the default to do 100% on this one, so we're gonna have to do some changing here to make this match up. You can see it totals to 100%. You can use decimals here if needed, but once we save this, and I'll show you an example of a decimal. I just wanted to show you this quickly because of how it's going to round on this portion of the page. So even though if I save this, it is going to be splitting by these percentages with the decimals. When we display your partnership, we round up to the nearest number just to not have so many decimals showing. That is why this shows 101%, but actually we are showing the correct percentages here. So now that this is saved, I just want farm partnership 1, this is going to be saved. You can see I have both my partnerships in here, or both my entity shares. I'm going to go back to the Crop Planner, and this is where we select what entity is being applied where. So this North 500, I want to apply this to our farm partnership 1. I'm going to click save, so it saves at change. And I've just entered a partnership here, but to make things simpler, I'm going to switch this back to just a straight 50-50, so we can just quickly look through some things here to make sense of this. And we just have to delete the share, create a new one here for the example purpose. So we'll do dad and brother here, just quick example, 50-50 split. All right, that's saved. Go back to the Crop Planner by field, select this 50-50 entity share, and we're gonna save this crop plan. So this is on the North 500 field, so we're gonna look at what's all in the North 500. See if there's any applications. This is a test account, so I've kind of got a lot of things going on here, but it looks like we've got some expenses tied to this. But as far as this field's profit and loss, so it was 495 planted acres. It was a 500-acre field technically, but we had 495 planted acres. That's why we're seeing 247.50 here. So you're seeing the split when I'm looking at just one entity, and you're going to see that all the expenses are going to be split in half. So if I look at the other entity, I will also see the other half of these expenses. So the one thing to point out is expenses like repairs. We'll just kind of hop into the inputs tab to explain this. Expenses like repairs, fuel, or excuse me, not fuel, but labor, can be set to entities. So a lot of people have questions about if I use a entity share for my landlord, how do I separate out my expenses like repairs? So obviously You wouldn't be charging on an entity split. If this is a crop share that's entered as an entity share, you don't want your repair bill to show up on your landlord's entity. So that's why we let you select entities. In this case, we only allow you to select one entity per line item. So sometimes what we'll have to do, if we need to split a cost between 3 people, let's say our landlord partnership is 25% the landlord, and then it's going to be the other 75% is split between the other 2 partners. I think more commonly you kind of see, we'll just go with that example, but we don't want to apply any of the landlord share for repairs. So what we do, this makes more sense on a 50% landowner, 25% partners. So let's say this is a $50,000 repair bill for easy math, and I want to split this between myself and the other entity, but I don't want it to show up at all on the landlord entity. So what I'm going to do is just add another line item in here. For just sake right now, we're just going to call this total repairs again. I'm going to name this one 25,000 and the upper one 25,000, and we're going to assign 1 to each. So it was dad and brother. So now we have our $50,000 repairs counted for, and half of it's being applied to one entity, half of it's being applied to the other entity. And if there's a third entity in the share, it would not be getting any of these expenses. So that's just one thing to look out for on entity shares, is that other input expenses can be applied to that share or unapplied versus how you set your entities. And one thing to note is we don't have the option to set entities for seed, fertilizer, chemical, crop insurance, or fuel. So those are things to take into account for yourself, is that we can't set the entity shares there, so that landlord share will be seeing a percentage of those expenses based on the entity share. If you have any questions about entities, maybe you have a crop share on top of an entity, or you're just wondering, you saw the video, you need more of an explanation, feel free to reach out to support@harvestprofit.com, send us an email there, or set up a call going to our website, www.harvestprofit.com/call. So that's harvestprofit.com/call, and set up a call time with us, and we'll help you out. Thanks.